Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy New Year. I want to thank you for spending this year with me here on the Tanya Acker Show. It's been a really good year, and we are only just getting started. I have had an incredible time talking to so many of the fascinating people who I've had the chance to chat with on this show. There have been a whole lot of them, but just a snippet of some of the conversations that we've had. I mean, good grief. We talked about democracy.
I believe that, and this is easy for me to say, okay, but I do believe it, that if you are devoted to a more perfect union, if you are devoted to amendment, adjustment, reform, enlightenment, lowercase e, to progress, then you have much to teach us. If you were about, in our history, ending that experiment, if you were General Lee, if you were Stonewall Jackson, if you were a Confederate, you were trying to end an experiment that ultimately gave us the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments, and gave us a country that honestly, most of us are willing to keep fighting for.
We talked about all of the things that we don't know about space.
If we know anything, we know that life is always more surprising than we can imagine. I think it was Shakespeare said, there's more in this universe than is dreamt of in your philosophy. Of course.
I got to hang out with some high school sweethearts who turned their passion for food and adventure into a business.
So you can do Cook in Tuscany for a week, but we also, we have our hotel and restaurant, which is 18 rooms and the restaurant and all that stuff.
Oh, that way I don't have to do anything. I can just.
So you can come. You can just sit at the pool and you can drink wine and you can, eat and hang out.
All of that.
In the Olive Grove and all that stuff. But as I tell people, it's really not a cooking school. It's a cooking occasion. It's a week built around food because we're from New Orleans, and like we talked about, everything really is about food. So. And we tell people you can be as serious as you want. You can debone chickens, or you can hang out in the back of the class and drink wine and make fun of people with me.
We talked about art.
As the choreographer for the series, I was definitely intentional in the same way because I was able to help cast all of the dancers. So I was intentional in the people, skill always first. You want people who can deliver as both dancers and actors. But the hair texture, the skin tone, the body type, the height, all of those things, because we're in a real world, we're in a real fictional world. And so we want these dancers to not come in just looking like what might be considered a traditional dance body, but we want them to look like people.
Music.
20 years ago, in the Ricky Martin era, there was this idea of if you want to quote unquote cross over and you're a Latin artist, you've got to start singing in English, right? And now things have changed to the point where we're seeing the opposite, right? We're seeing Justin Bieber singing in Spanish to cross over to that audience. And that's partly because if we're thinking about the musical audience, this book that I wrote is very much about America. But I think in the next 50 years, as the music marketplace goes more global, maybe some of those old assumptions are overturned.
Justice.
I tried to make sure that we got the 12 best people we could out of the jury pool. The 12 least biased people we could find, because they were the determiners of justice in any given case. And we need to emphasize that that's what makes us great. Not a judge or a police officer in terms of the institution, but 12 ordinary citizens have the right to determine the guilt or non-guilt of another individual in our society. And if that isn't the meaning of democracy, that no judge, no lawyer, no politician, no newspaper reporter, no one can dictate to that jury what their verdict should be.
And we talked about facts.
Moderation is a couple of things, in my view. One is it's a way of thinking about a problem. It's a way of analyzing a problem coolly and with due respect for facts. So that's one aspect of being a moderate. Another is a suspicion of extreme claims on one side or another. And frankly, a skepticism about moralistic claims dressed up as dogma. Because I think most moralistic claims require that we examine very closely what the sort of deep structure of that moral claim is and whether it comports with actual facts.
We are only just getting started. I promise you there's going to be so much more to come in 2022. And I am so grateful and appreciative to all of you for tuning in here with me on this podcast. Please tell your friends and family. We got a lot more great stuff coming up. And in the meantime, I wish you the merriest Christmas, the happiest holiday, the happiest, healthiest, safest, most blessed new year that's possible. I'll see you in 2022. And thank you again so much for being with me. I really appreciate you. Peace.